The Samsung Galaxy S24 FE and the Galaxy A56 are currently priced between 35 to 40,000 rupees in India. Even internationally, both phones are priced under $500, and their prices are expected to go down even further during the upcoming festive season. So, which of these is the better phone for your needs? Well, that's exactly what we'll try to find out in this comparison. Here we'll compare both these phones across 8 different categories and declare a winner. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. In terms of design, the S24 FE uses the typical Samsung design with 3 camera rings. The A56, on the other hand, has a single pill-shaped camera bump housing all the 3 cameras. Both phones have metal frames, but they look and feel very different. While the S24 FE has a matte finish frame with slightly curved edges, the A56 has a dual finish frame with matte finish and curved edges around the buttons, and brushed finish with chamfered edges for the rest of the frame. In terms of dimensions and weight, the Galaxy A56 definitely gets the upper hand here, as it is noticeably slimmer and lighter. The S24 FE feels unnecessarily bulky despite having a smaller battery. In terms of durability, both phones come with Gorilla Glass Victus Plus protection for both front and back. Also, both phones have a good IP rating, though the S24 FE has a slight edge here. Overall, I will give a slight edge to the Galaxy A56 as it is more comfortable to hold. The Galaxy S24 FE feels a bit too bulky, so the A56 gets 3 points while the S24 FE gets 2 points. In terms of display, both phones are nearly identical, similar size, resolution and refresh rate. Even in terms of brightness, both are rated for similar peak HDR brightness, and my test also revealed similar brightness numbers. The HDR experience is also pretty much identical, be it on YouTube or Netflix. Unfortunately, both phones also have similar negative points. So both phones have thick asymmetrical bezels, as well as low PWM frequency, which is not good for sensitive eyes. So obviously, both phones get the same number of points as they are pretty much identical in this department. In terms of audio, both phones have good sounding stereo speakers. Check out these audio samples. As you might have noticed, the S24 FE gets a bit louder and also packs in a little more bass. Still, the A56 is also pretty good. Now this is a microphone test of both these phones. Which one sounds better? Is it the S24 FE or the A56? I personally found both of them to be nearly identical and couldn't decide a winner. Now this is a microphone test of both these phones. Which one sounds better? Is it the S24 FE or the A56? I personally found both of them to be nearly identical and couldn't decide a winner. The earpiece quality is also pretty much identical between these two phones, and so I have no complaints about either of them. Both phones have audio enhancement features like Dolby Atmos, an equalizer and adapt sound. Also, both phones have no problem playing wired or wireless audio, and even with wireless audio, most codecs are supported including LDAC, but LHDC codec is unfortunately not supported. So overall, both offer an almost identical audio experience. The S24 FE has slightly better speakers, but the difference is minuscule. So both phones get 3 points. Both phones have 3 cameras on the back, but they are not identical. While the S24 FE has a 3x zoom telephoto camera, the A56 has a dedicated macro camera. Even the selfie cameras are not identical between these two phones. Now let's check out the camera samples. In general, both phones provide great looking shots with lively colors and good dynamic range. The indoor shots also look good, with accurate white balance and a good amount of texture detail. Even the color parity between the primary and ultra-wide cameras is pretty good in most situations, and the detail level captured by the ultra-wide cameras is good enough on both phones. However, The A56 tends to slightly overexpose the shots and brighten the darker regions, resulting in dull or hazy looking shots. It also boosts the green color in vegetation, making all of it look like the same shade of green, which I'm not a big fan of. The A56 has a dedicated macro camera, but the S24 FE's zoom camera takes way better looking macro shots. And in terms of zoom, there is no comparison. The S24 FE is leagues ahead thanks to a dedicated 3x zoom telephoto camera. In low light, however, I tend to prefer the shots taken with the A56 as the ones taken with the S24 FE are overly sharpened and the ultra-wide shots have cooler white balance with boosted greens. Coming to portrait shots, both phones do a good job with skin tones and edge detection. But you can't do 3x portrait shots with the A56, however, you can add portrait effect after taking a shot. Still, the S24 FE's 3x portrait shot is way better. Coming to selfies, again, both do a good job in good light. However, in low light, the S24 FE pulls ahead with a more detailed shot. Coming to video, both phones can record videos in 4K. Here you can see that the stabilization on both phones is good, but in terms of dynamic range, the S24 FE is way better. While switching between cameras during video recording, the A56 doesn't have any zoom transition effect. The A56 is limited to 4K 30fps, which can look choppy compared to a smooth 4K 60fps of the S24 FE. The focusing speed of both phones is good, no complaints here. In low light, again both phones do a similar job, which is decent but not great. However, the S24 FE can do 8K recording, 4K 120fps slow motion recording, up to 18x smooth zoom while recording, as well as 4K portrait video recording. All these features are missing on the A56. Coming to the front camera, both phones can record videos in 4K, but the A56 is limited to 30fps, while the S24 FE can do 60fps. The camera UI on both phones is similar, but in the Pro mode, you can only use the primary camera in the A56, while you can use all the 3 rear cameras in the S24 FE. So all in all, the S24 FE is way ahead in the camera department. The A56 is still fine for casual photography, but if you are into content creation, the S24 FE is the way to go. Both phones are currently running One UI 7 and will soon be updated to One UI 8 based on Android 16, so the software experience is fairly identical. All the Samsung's fan favorite features like edge panels, live notifications, floating windows, as well as secure folder, Samsung Wallet and Good Lock are present on both phones. Even in terms of updates, both phones will get support up to Android 21, which is amazing. But there are two differences in the software experience. One is bloatware. The A56 comes with a lot of bloatware out of the box. Fortunately, all of it can be uninstalled. And the second one is AI. The S24 FE comes with a lot of advanced AI capabilities, which the A56 lacks. The A56 still gets basic AI features like Google Gemini, Circle to Search and Object Eraser, but the S24 FE can do way more with advanced AI features like Generative Edit, Drawing Assist and Audio Eraser. So the S24 FE is definitely better in the software department, though the software experience of the A56 is definitely not bad. In terms of performance, both phones come with Exynos chips, but there is a big difference in their performance. In benchmarks, the S24 FE is about 2 to 3 times more powerful, but the A56 offers better stability under stress and lower temperatures. In day-to-day use, both phones feel smooth. The S24 FE definitely feels a little faster, but it's not a night and day difference. In games, however, there is a big difference. Shooting games like BGMI are limited to 60 FPS on the A56. On the S24 FE, it used to go up to 90 FPS, but now it can go up to 120 FPS. Same is the case with Call of Duty. The experience on the S24 FE is way smoother. And with heavy games like Car X Street, we get around 40 FPS with the A56 and close to 60 FPS with the S24 FE. Again, we get similar results with Genshin Impact. Neither of these is the best gaming phone in its price range, but the S24 FE is certainly more capable. However, if you're not into gaming, the A56 is more than capable enough and also runs cooler compared to the S24 FE under load. By 2025 standards, both phones come with small batteries, but the A56 definitely has an edge. In my battery tests, the A56 consistently beat the S24 FE. In general, you can expect around 6 to 7 hours of screen on time with the S24 FE and around 8 hours of screen on time with the A56. In terms of charging, the S24 FE supports up to 25 watts charging speed, while the A56 supports 45 watts. While it takes roughly the same amount of time to fully charge these phones, the A56 charges significantly faster in the first 20 to 30 minutes. However, the S24 FE supports wireless and reverse wireless charging, which adds to the convenience. Still, the A56 wins this round as it has better battery life and faster charging speed. In terms of box content, neither phone comes with a charger or a case in the box. Both phones have equally fast and accurate optical fingerprint scanners as well as face unlock systems. Even the haptic feedback on both phones is quite similar. It is definitely good, but a step below the flagship level. Both phones include all the necessary sensors, but the S24 FE has 2 additional sensors for altitude and magnetic field detection. In terms of connectivity, again the S24 FE is superior as it has Wi-Fi 6E support. Also, its USB port is a much faster USB 3.2 Gen 1 port. In data transfer, it is way faster compared to the A56. It also supports video out, and with that comes DeX support. With DeX, you can transform your phone into a desktop PC. In terms of network features, both phones have a similar feature set, and I didn't encounter any network related issues with either of these phones. So the S24 FE definitely wins this round with better connectivity and more sensors. Okay, so to sum it up, the S24 FE is the clear winner with 22 points compared to the 19 points of the A56. The S24 FE is definitely better value for money and covers most of the fan favorite features one expects from a Samsung phone. However, if you want a Samsung phone with a premium build, long-lasting battery, smooth UI and long software support, but don't care much about AI, cameras and gaming performance, the A56 is a very good option. That's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. Please like, comment, share and subscribe to my channel down below. Thanks for watching.